So what is this thing that we want to talk about, right? For everyone watching. So Google put out a small announcement, sort of a by the way, on the Google Ads developers blog that starting sometime in April, the smart bidding strategies of target CPA and target ROAS will go away. Yes, you heard that correctly. Target CPA and target ROAS are being sunset.
Yeah.
So check out the Google Ads developers blog. But the good news is they're going away. They're becoming absorbed into maximize conversions and maximize conversion value. So these are two of the existing bid strategies. Those two bid strategies will get an additional setting so that you can put in your target CPA for maximize conversions and target ROAS when you're doing maximize conversions value. So what Google is sort of saying is the ads being sunset, but it's just being absorbed. Functionality will not really change. I think there's always nuance. So let's talk about that, right? What's your guys' first reaction to this announcement?
Well, oftentimes, because Google has made so many small and larger changes, they almost roll them out from a pre-existing long-term planning process with bullet points of each little thing and what the revenue impact has been proven to be by testing and projecting. So Google is not unaware of the revenue impact of that change. So it's interesting how that might fall out. For a lot of us, it means limiting budgets because we think that this maximize settings are budget aware, and we aren't quite clear on how it works, and we're not ready to give carte blanche necessarily to Google to maximize anything. Meanwhile, there are a lot of accounts that include display, that include even app inventory on display. They include novice account managers asleep at the switch, big agencies that aren't managing the account always, not in every case. So have they figured out that a lot of people won't really notice, and so that ultimately budgets will increase and more diffuse?
Interesting. Are you sort of saying that people will make the switch, or they will be automatically switched into the new system, but there's not going to be a constraint on the tCPA or tROAS because people are just not that smart and they forget to do it, and so hence now the budget just becomes the limiting factor?
Like, so for a few months, does Google at the sort of at the offending account managers or asleep at the switch accounts, do those budgets maybe not increase? Maybe they increase slightly, but what happens is now Google is able to sell non-performing inventory. I'm not talking keyword search. That's pretty well known. But are they able to sell, once they've convinced everyone to turn on smart shopping or other opt-ins to have display, YouTube, etc., app inventory opted in, do they simply mark up the prices now of less valuable inventory? Whereas, right, this is just sort of a way to sell a little more of the lower performing stuff to people who are unsuspecting. We may not see a change, but it does affect us because now we're using a smart bidding strategy that is less transparent, perhaps. So,
yeah, and Sarah's asking a good question. So it's not clear, and I agree. We've asked Google and not quite gotten the answer on that. But can you still set ad group level targets? The initial response we're getting is that should be the case because they really do see it as just basically a renaming, merge.
Yeah, what I've seen is it's more of a merge, right? They're trying to bring those two together, so there'll be a target in terms of what they're going after, and not a constraint. And those two obviously play with one another, right? It's one thing if it's a true constraint, and you know, at least my clients and other people's clients, I'm sure, their constraints are real, right? If they're not, you know, 5 or 4 or whatever their number is, they don't want to play in the market. So that could be a real negative. For some people, it is a true constraint. Or, you know, you have to, when you're talking about, maximizing CPAs? Are we going to get low quality conversions in rather than the high quality conversions we may be truly going after, right? Something I get for a business to business that's on an industry publication is a much higher quality for me than something that's a pseudo spam or other things like that. And those people in some of the farms will make conversions for you. So those are the things that I worry about within this. But I know we've also played the system a little bit, and I think that's one of the reasons we're doing it. We've over constrained ourselves as agencies. I don't put my real target in because I know you might go over it. So I put a little lower than my real target in, knowing that if you go over it, I'm still okay. So, I think that's one of the real reasons for it. Turning a constraint to a suggestion is more or less the idea here, is at least as I see it.